Sacred geometry is very rich. We'll look at one last shape and the offshoots of that shape. We'll go from the symbol of the cube to the symbol of the vesica piscis, the bladder of the fish. It's a Christian symbol. Well, it has been used as a Christian symbol, but underlying it is a basic geometric construct. You may see Christians driving around with stickers on the back of their car that are like a fish bladder. It's like a stylized fish. In the early days of Christianity, they used to draw that shape on the sand to identify themselves as people of the fish, as Christians who were a persecuted minority in the early days. Now, there are other ways to look at this. It's been called the mandorla because mandorla is an almond, it's almond shape. And it's been called the womb of creation because with a little bit of imagination, I mean, when it's drawn as a fish, of course, there are two bits sticking out at the end. Can you see that sort of fish symbol in there? Right, and we turn it up this way and get rid of those two bits sticking out at the end, which were representing the fishtail, and now just look at it as the mandorla or almond shape, or the womb of creation. Because with a little bit of imagination, you can see the labia, the female labia around the vaginal opening there, which is the portal to ultimately the womb. Now, this is because the sacred geometricians believe that out of this shape, everything can be generated. Why is this the womb of creation, this vesica shape? Well, do you know how to construct it geometrically? You take two circles and you've got it there in the middle, in the overlap of the two circles. But you have to position these circles right. The circumference of one circle runs through the center of the other circle. The circumference of the first circle runs through the center of the second circle, and the circumference of the second circle runs through the center of the first circle. And if you do it that way, you'll create your vesica, the womb of creation. Now, if the circle has a radius of 1 unit and so a diameter of 2 units, these circles are perfectly the same. And remember what we said about the center and the circumference? We've got the infinitesimal and the infinite number of points around the outside, but one at the center. And so this vesica somehow reconciles the infinite and the infinitesimal in the way that the transcendental number pi did as well. So if the radius of the original circles was 1, the distance between these fingers and these fingers on that middle bit of your Venn diagram, as it were, on the overlapping vesica, that vertical distance is the square root of 3. Now, it was important for the ancient geometricians to be able to derive roots, because how else would you figure out how long the square root of 3 was? This is the root of 3. This is the root from which you can construct threeness. Because if you take that as the side of a square, then you can create you can derive threeness by the area of a square whose side is root 3. Because root 3 times root 3 is 3. Now all the roots of the first numerals are all encoded in here, because you can look at the distance from, well, there are different constructions with the vesica. You'd have to go and look up, I suppose if you Google derivation of geometric roots from vesica piscis, you'd be able to see that there are different lengths between different parts of the circles and the apex of the vesica and other points on the circles that give you not only root 3, but root 2, the square root of 2, and the square root of 5. So you've got the roots of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You've got the roots of 1 because the root of 1 is 1, and that's the radius of one of your circles. You've got the square root of 4 as well, because the square root of 4 is of course 2, and that's the diameter of either circle as well. But to that you've added the square root of 2, the square root of 3, and the square root of 5. So the first 5 digits, the first 5 numbers can all be derived from this geometric construction that comes from drawing 2 circles intersecting in such a way that their circumferences lie on each other's centre. Did I say that the right way? Yes, you know what I mean. Now, when you create the vesica, you've got the 2 circles. Let me put that close up. You see how they intersect on their extremities, on their peripheries? There are 2 points that they cut. Now, what if you took your compasses and used those 2 points of intersection on the outside and made them centres of new circles? And so you inscribe another circle there and another circle there. And now you've got 4 circles creating a pattern. Now they're going to cut again. And the best thing to do is to actually take a few minutes and do the geometrical exercise. Get yourself a set of compasses. You know what I mean? I mean not compasses for navigation and direction, but the mathematical compasses where you can put a pointy end down at one place, put a sharpened pencil in a stirrup here on the other arm, and then scribe a circle. And you can, off the intersection of 2 circles, find where they intersect, make it a centre, draw another circle, draw another circle. How many times can you repeat that process before it exhausts all the possible intersection points? A spoiler alert, the answer is 6. There's only 6 possible circles that can be drawn in this way. And what it does, it creates a lovely geometric pattern called the seed of life. And it's like 6 petals around a centre. And from the seed of life, through other geometric constructions, all you need is a ruler to go from the seed of life to the tree of life, and you can build it up geometrically. Then you can go from the seed of life to the flower of life. Because the seed of life had the 6 circles around the outside of a central circle, that's 7 circles. And you can put another layer of circles around the outside, and you can build the seed into the flower of life, which uses up 19 circles, but it gives you a really attractive, beautiful, interlocking, intersecting pattern. And the flower of life has become a sort of like an esoteric icon.
I was going to say an icon.
Yeah, from the New Age, but it goes right back to ancient times as well. It can be found in the Temple of Abydos in Egypt. It can be found in the Forbidden City in China, in the Grand Mosque at Cordoba in Spain. It can be found in synagogues in Israel. It's pregnant with meaning, the flower of life. It all comes from the seed of life, and it comes from intersecting circles. Anyway, why am I bringing this up? Because we can also take the 6 points of the original seed of life, and you've got hexadic geometry, six-fold geometry. You join those points up and you have a Star of David. The Star of David, which is on the flag of Israel, 2 interlaced triangles, one pointing upwards and one pointing downwards, is not just a Jewish symbol. It's been found in other cultures. It's not just a symbol of ancient Israel. For ancient Israel and modern Israel, it should, although people don't think about this systematically these days. It's meant to be the relationship between God and his covenant people. It's also meant to be the relationship between spirit and matter. And it is found in other religious systems as well. And it divides the circle into 6. It's a diagrammatic representation of the 6 days of creation, with the central point, the still point, the day of rest, the Shabbat point, the Sabbath. Now, what has this got to do with how we learn? Why is it important to education? Well, everything we encounter in our environment has 6 inflections of being. There are 6 and no more than 6 ways of looking at it. It's been created in 6 stages. Creation takes place in 6 stages. And when you do the exercise with the compasses, you might see that it's built into the nature of the circle. And those 6 stages are preserved in the inflections of being. So when I look out and I see a tree, that tree can be existential, it can be phenomenal, it can be ideal, it can be real, it can be mental, and it can be material. Not only can it be, it's all of those things at once. It is simultaneously an existent, a phenomenon, an idea, a real thing.
And the mark of the beast.
Oh, you're thinking of the 6s, yes.
Yeah.
Book of Revelation.
To do with the material world.
Gee, that's come from left field. And it's also, a mental and a material thing. So, 6. It has to do with the material world. And in biblical numerology, 6, 6, 6. And 6 is more to do with the creation. People think that 6 is an evil number. It's not. It's more to do with the manifest side of things. And 7 is to do more with the transcendental.
I think it's just the relationship with the devil that makes people think that it's evil.
Well, this is the thing. peacemakers need to be aware of sensationalistic things.
Yeah.
Like, do you only read the Bible to find out what the mark of the beast is? 666. People love salacious and juicy and sensationalistic things. In a way, it's an excuse to stop reasoning. It's an excuse to stop learning. And peacemakers can't afford to stop learning. And we really need to circle back now and do another peace reboot. This might be our third, just to explain why I have taken this long excursus into the liberal arts. Is it necessary to peacemaking? I believe it is. And so I'll come back and try to explain why I think it is.